And now let us look ahead to this Saturday night, October 29th, UFC Fight Night, Kattar versus Allen, going down at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada, headlining Calvin Kattar, Arnold Allen in the UFC featherweight division. What a great fight at 145 pounds.
It is.
We're going to talk about 5 of the fights on this Fight Night card. Before we get into any of the ones that we have handpicked for our listeners and viewers, are there any other fights or fighters that you guys want to spotlight and tell our viewers to go check out?
I'll throw out Tresean Gore fighting Josh Fremd. Tresean Gore, obviously 0-2 in the UFC. Came in with some hype off the Ultimate Fighter. He's a guy who obviously carries a lot of power. Some people were excited about him. It has not translated. He's probably fighting for his job in this one. Fremd is an action guy. He'll definitely try to lean on the grappling and the pace against Gore. Gore will probably try to lean on the striking, but that should be an interesting one, and I could see Gore come out hot trying to save his job. So that's one I would keep an eye on. And I'll say real quick, I misspoke. The Bellator event is actually on Saturday daytime since it's in Italy, so it is literally an appetizer to the UFC, one after the other.
That's cool.
One fight that I'll point out is Joseph Ugly Man Holmes. He's been an interesting person to watch. I'm still not 100% sold on his game, but he is a very interesting watch. He's very good when he's very good, and he's slipping when he's slipping. So I want to see exactly what the consistency looks like this weekend. But I do find him quite intriguing, so I'm keeping an eye on him.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm a fan of Jun Young Park's game. That's who he's fighting. But Holmes is going to have a big size advantage on him in terms of height and reach, so he could get it done.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of height and reach, the first fight that we are going to preview for our viewers and listeners is going down in the heavyweight division. Andrei Arlovski, the ageless wonder, taking on Marcos Rogerio de Lima. De Lima, 37-year-old Brazilian. He's 6'1" tall. Weighs in at the heavyweight limit, even though he's only 6'1". He weighs in at the limit of 265, or right around there. The man is a monster. He is out of 28 professional fights, he's 19-8 with 14 knockouts, and he is coming off of a loss against Blagoy Ivanov. Excuse me. And then we have Andrei Arlovski staring across the cage. 43-year-old, originally out of Soviet Union. He is now fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, according to the Wikipedia. He's 6'4". Usually weighs in the 240 range. Arlovski, he has, I haven't counted, but he has a bajillion fights under the UFC banner. He is riding a 4-fight win streak coming into this weekend. Overall, as a pro, 34 wins, 20 losses. Of his 34 victories, 17 have come by knockout, 14 decision, and 3 submissions. Most recently, he's coming off of a victory against Jake Collier by split decision this past April. Mark, let me throw it over to you. What's your take and your pick of Arlovski versus Rogerio de Lima?
I got to check something quick. I'm feeling like I wrote these odds down wrong. Wow, I didn't. Wow. Surprised it's this wide. Andrei Arlovski is a 2-1 underdog. He's plus 200. Marcos Rogerio de Lima is minus 245. I thought I was about to be a little bit bold. I guess I'm not being so bold after seeing those lines. I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like this is going to be the one for Andrei where he gets caught. He's been living a little dangerously. He's had some close fights. I mean, he's won 6 out of 7, so what can you really say? But I just have this feeling like one of these days it's going to have to catch up where he kind of starts to fall off. He is 43. De Lima hits really hard. He can be aggressive early. As I said, Andrei's been playing it close. He's been exchanging. I don't know if he can avoid the big shots and play that point fight kickboxing game that he kind of employs now. And I also think that DeLima's ability to mix it up with some takedowns, and he's a big dude, as you said, I think that mix could kind of allow him to get in and land with some big power because Arlovski's thinking about it. I'm going to say Andrei gets caught. I will say Marcos Rogerio de Lima, round 2, knockout.
Nice. Omar?
That's exactly what I think is going to happen.
Really? Wow. Are you an Arlovski guy? I didn't see that coming.
Honestly, like, I've been less and less of an Arlovski guy over the years just because of the fight style that he's employing lately. It's not the Arlovski I signed up for. It's not the Arlovski I grew up with. The Arlovski that I fell in love with was the man who was a savage with his fang mouthpiece and his nonstop aggression. And now he's like, content to work on the outside and not really go for the finish. And the fact is that man hasn't really had a decent chin in quite some time. And I feel like if he gets hit, he's got miles to him, don't get me wrong. And he's found a great way of defending himself.
True.
In the last few years. So, he deserves credit there, but it's just not super exciting anymore for me. And like Mark said, De Lima hits super fucking hard. And if, De Lima lands one on Arlovski's chin, it doesn't take much for Arlovski to go down. He doesn't even need to be put out, really. He just needs to be put down. So, I think De Lima could do it. Both of them have shown that their games can be screwed with, though. So, who knows what can happen, but my guess would be De Lima gets it done. I also think round 2 knockout.
Look, Rogerio de Lima is no spring chicken either. He's 37 years old himself. But I agree with you guys. I think that the Arlovski train, 43 years old, he's got, over 50 fights. He's got 56 fights. Good God, man, at heavyweight.
Crazy.
Yeah, the train's got to come to an end at some point, and I think this big Brazilian is gonna put it on him a bit, and I see De Lima getting him out of there. I'm gonna say round 1 knockout. That's what I'm gonna say.
Damn.
Okay, let's move on. In the middleweight division, Phil Hawes, no hype, Phil Hawes, is taking on Roman the Caucasian Dolidze. So we have Phil Hawes. What's so funny?
I'll never fucking understand that name, dude.
No, which one? The Caucasian?
The Caucasian?
Well, he's Georgian.
Is it because he's from the Caucasus?
Yeah, I think so. That's where the Caucasus Mountains are. It's in Georgia, I think.
That's got to be it.
Look it up.
Caucasus Mountains form a border between Russia to the north and Georgia to the south and Azerbaijan to the southeast.
To an American, it's kind of a funny nickname. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Phil the BIPOC Hawes. It's very strong.
So
anyway,
Caucasians are not just white people. They are specifically people from this area.
Yeah, dude.
Have we been using Caucasians the wrong way then?
No.
I don't think it's Caucasus. I don't think it's a real term for people from the Caucasus.
It is.
No, dude, it really is. Wow,
yes.
It really is.
Okay.
It is the term for people from Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, parts of North Iran, and central southern Russia. What the fuck? How did that just become the name for white people?
Because, like many racial terms, that it actually has a quite racist origin story, which I'm not going to get into on this podcast. It's not what this podcast is about.
Right,
but maybe there might have been a researcher who was like, this is clearly the most perfect form of human beings from the Caucasus Mountain ranges. And I think it was because of like their skull shapes or something like that. I read this in a book about race. Anyway.
All right.
It's a super term, and it's stuck, and it sucks, but that's what it is, Let's talk about this fucking fight.
Let's.
Okay, Roman Dolidze, out of Georgia, 34 years old. He's 6'3", nice height for middleweight. He is 10-1 as a pro, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, riding a 2-fight little streak here coming into Saturday night. Most recently knocking out Kyle Dawkins. Phil Hawes, 33-year-old, fighting out of New Jersey. He is 12-3 as a pro, 8 knockouts, 2 submissions to his name. He's coming off of a win against Darren Wynn. Mark, let me start with you this time. What's your take and your pick of Hawes versus the Caucasian Dolidze?
So Hawes is favored. He's minus 175. Dolidze is plus 145. My man, Mr. Underappreciated Phil Hawes, is going to get it done again. I think it is going to be really hard for Dolidze to take Hawes down. I think he really relies on controlling guys against the fence, and Phil Hawes is just not that guy. I don't think Phil Hawes minds the pressure. I think he's going to have a big advantage as a striker. His striking was so clean in his last fight against Darren Wynn. And frankly, it has been for a while. He got caught by Chris Curtis, but he was even piecing up Chris Curtis in that fight. The dude's hands are underrated, as is his whole game. I can't wait till he gets knocked out now, so I sound stupid. But Phil Hawes gets it done, resists the wrestling and pressure, leans on the striking, round 2 knockout, puts down Dolidze.
Omar.
Round 2 TKO, I meant to say, excuse me.
I've actually been going back and forth with this fight. I don't have the same confidence in Phil Hawes as Mark does. I think it has to do more with the performance. The Darren Wynn was a fantastic performance, but I'm also not a huge Darren Wynn fan, so it doesn't really carry as much weight for me. On the other hand, I find Roman Dolidze to be very exciting. I do think he has opportunities in his game because of how exciting he is. I do think that if one dude is going to hit the other, who would I guess is going to get knocked out first? It would probably be Dolidze. So I'm going to go with Phil Hawes by knockout. I'm going to go round 1.
I too like Phil Hawes in this matchup. I like the power differential. I think Chris Curtis kind of he made the Hawes hype train stop for a moment, but I think it's going to keep on rolling to the next station. I also like Phil Hawes by TKO round 2. Let's go. Okay, next fight up in the light heavyweight division, Dustin Jacoby taking on Khalil Rountree. Jacoby coming off of that nice knockout win over Daun Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Let me pull it up here. Give me 1 second. I'm a little behind on my clicks. Rountree. No secret to this podcast. He's like one of my favorite guys in the sport right now. The Warhorse, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He's coming off of a 2-fight win streak, most recently defeating Carl Roberson by TKO with that crazy body kick on the ground where he moved Roberson like 3 feet. Jacoby, like I said, coming off of that nice knockout win over Daun Jung. He is the 34-year-old fighting out of Illinois. He is 6'4", so really nice height for the division, for any division really. He's coming into this Saturday night with a 4-fight winning streak. Omar, let me start with you this time. Give us your take and your pick of this really nice fight in the light heavyweight division between Dustin Jacoby and Khalil Rountree.
It is a very interesting fight. Dustin Jacoby has found a lot more success recently. He's had a lot more consistency. Thailand Khalil Rountree is still really like 50-50 if we're looking at the record. He's looked fantastic when he's winning, but he still has lost. So I love Khalil Rountree. I find him to be very exciting. I love his striking. I don't think he's perfect, though. Dustin Jacoby has shown that he has the ability to weather storms and still come back and still put it on guys. So, as much as it pains me, I will be picking Dustin Jacoby to win. I think he stops Khalil Rountree, and I think it happens in the second round. TKO.
Wow.
All right. Jacoby is favored. He's minus 170. Khalil is plus 140, which is pretty much what I was expecting this fight to be around. I love me some Khalil Rountree. His kickboxing is nasty, but he is going to be across from one of the best kickboxers in the UFC in terms of true kickboxing credentials in Dustin Jacoby. So it's interesting. I'll be really interested to see whose technique is better. It may be Jacoby, honestly, technique-wise. Like, he's more so the guy that just outclasses you in the striking department, whereas Khalil is more so the guy that kind of walks you into a death blow. So it could be that, like, Jacoby's winning until he's not. It could be one of those. Khalil has had success against other credentialed kickboxers. Remember, he welcomed Gokhan Saki to the UFC, put him out. Lesser scale, though Carl Roberson does have his own kickboxing credentials. Khalil just handled him, as Mike said. I don't know. Jacoby's got a 2-inch height and a 4-inch reach advantage, which is significant. Maybe Khalil's kicks can help nullify it some, but Jacoby's got nasty kicks as well. I feel like going off historical results, the pick here is Jacoby. He just looks better against a larger variety of people. He's always able to kind of implement his game, keep himself safe, whereas Khalil has been a lot more up and down. When he's great. Sometimes he loses to a guy like Marcin Prachnio, and you're like, how did that just happen? Part of me feels like it's his time and that he's got to break through at some point, and maybe it's now. I don't know. I feel like it's easy to say Jacoby just stays on the outside. He's got a great chin, never absorbs anything too big, and wins on the cards. But I feel like it's also easy to say that Khalil finds a kill shot with the way that he's fighting right now. And I didn't write down a pick on this fight prior. We're going to flip the coin. Khalil Rountree. Round 2 TKO.
Let's go.
Somehow finds it. I don't even know how.
To your point earlier, Mark, there are times when we are thinking with our level heads and thinking rationally. And then there are other times where you just go with your guy. And I'm going with my guy. I'm going with Khalil Rountree. Yeah, man, I love his I love that he's like a strict Muay Thai practitioner in MMA. And I'm going to go Khalil Rountree by TKO round 2. That's it. It's going to be another.
Yeah, I think I called Khalil a kickboxer. Obviously meant to say Muay Thai specialist. If I did say that, that was a misspeak.
Yeah, man. All right, here we go. Co-main event of UFC Fight Night. We have Tim the Dirty Bird Means, still one of the best nicknames in the sport. Tim Means taking on Max Payne Griffin. So Tim Means, the 38-year-old, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's 6'2". As a professional, he's 32-13 with 1 draw and 1 no contest. Of his 32 victories as a pro, 19 have come by way of knockout. Also 5 submissions to add to that. He's coming off of a loss against Kevin Holland back in June where he got Bravo choked, whatever that means. I don't remember being any kind of special choke. His opponent, Max Payne Griffin, the 36-year-old fighting out of Sacramento, California. He's 5'11". He's 18-9 as a pro with 9 knockouts to his name. He also is coming off of a loss, his at the hands of the great Neil Magny. Back in March of this year by split decision, which snapped a 3-fight winning streak for Max Griffin. So both of these welterweights are looking to get back into the win column. Mark, why don't you go first and give us your take on this matchup and ultimately your pick?
All right, Max Griffin is the favorite here. He's minus 185. Tim Means is plus 145. This is not easy. They're close. They match up close. Max Griffin has looked much better lately. Tim Means is never an easy night. I think these guys are pretty damn even everywhere this fight goes. Tim Means maybe has the edge in terms of that he can snatch a sub more opportunistically if they end up grappling. Max maybe has the edge in that he's the better athlete. He's probably the quicker guy in there. But they're both capable in the grappling departments. They both are nice strikers, technique-wise, power-wise, mixing it up. I could see it go either way, but I think I'm going to favor Max right now. I feel like his game is rounding into the best place it's been. I know he did just lose, but he arguably didn't even lose. I think I scored it for Magny, if I remember, but it was really tight. I think the speed helps him. I think he lands more. I think he mixes in some calf kicks and edges the decision over Tim Means.
Nice. Omar. Excuse me.
Yeah, this is another one that's difficult for me because I don't hold a lot of confidence for Max Griffin. For me, a lot of his victories haven't been, he's got to win against Carlos Condit, which if that was a 2013 Carlos Condit, it'd be a different story. I just feel like Tim Means has a lot more quality wins in his resume than Max Griffin does. I do agree Max Griffin is going to be the faster fighter in there. I think Tim Means will be kind of reacting a lot more than setting things up as much as I think he'd want to. However, the one thing I love about Tim Means is his elbows. Whenever anybody gets inside, it's basically like walking through a wood chipper. I think at some point Max will have to enter that range. I don't think he'll be able to stay outside the entire time. I think I think potentially he gets chewed up in those moments. I think Tim Means is going to have to go through some shit, but I do think that I think Max Griffin comes out with a unanimous decision.
Max Griffin. Oh, I thought you were going to say Means.
I was.
To me, this is an easy pick. I'm going to take the younger, more athletic fighter in Max Griffin. I think Tim Means is kind of over the hill. He's a super talented fighter, a very talented striker. With his experience, it brings also a nice well-roundedness to his MMA game. But I'm going to go with the guy who seems to be on the rise in his career, who's younger and more athletic. I'm going to take Max Griffin by decision, 3 rounds, and I'll say 29-28 to get a little specific. All right, boys. This fight night is going to be highlighted by the main event, which is such a great fight. Going down at 145 pounds, these two featherweight headliners are Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen. Let me just quickly pull up these two men's statistics here. So Calvin Kattar, he is the 34-year-old. Oh, let me go back real quick. 34-year-old fighting out of Massachusetts. He is 23-6 as a pro with 11 knockouts, 10 decisions. He's coming off of a split decision loss against Josh Emmett. By the way, he's 5'11". Arnold Almighty Allen fighting out of England. He's only 28 years old, so on the rise, entering his prime right now as an athlete. He's 18-1 as a pro with 6 knockouts, 4 subs, and 8 decisions. And he's cruising, man. He's on a 11-fight win streak coming into this weekend, undefeated thus far in the UFC. Omar, let me start with you this time. Give us your take and your pick of Kattar versus Allen.
So I love both of these guys. I think both of these guys are extremely talented. On any given day, I think both of these guys can win. I have been pretty high on Arnold Allen, though. I think this is his time. I think this is the moment for him to shine. He has a number of quality wins on his resume, on top of the fact that the man hasn't lost in the UFC. It's hard to pick against him right now. Calvin has shown a hell of a lot of grit when it comes to the fights that he's lost. He's only lost to really good guys, in recent memory. And he's looked fantastic in the wins that he's had in recent memory. So definitely not somebody I count out, not somebody I discredit at all. I just think it's Arnold Allen's time. So I'm going to go with Arnold Allen. I think it'll be a hard-fought fight, but I do think it'll be in a unanimous decision for Allen.
Mark.
All right, this is basically a pick 'em.
Is it really?
Calvin Kattar is even money plus 100. Arnold Allen is the slight favorite minus 120. I love this fight. Really high-level fight. Going to be a really big win for whoever comes out on top. I love that it's 5 rounds. Calvin Kattar, as we said, took a tough loss in his last fight. I'm sure he is chomping at the bit to bounce back here after that loss to Josh Emmett that some people thought that he had won. He'll have a 3-inch height and 2-inch reach advantage over Arnold Allen. And I think he does match up well in that the jab and the clean technique of Kattar I could see causing problems for Arnold, who's a bit more of not a brawler, but he kind of likes to throw wider shots, and I could see him getting picked at by the jab as he kind of loads up and looks to land those. But he does start fast. He's a hell of an athlete. I could see him putting it on Calvin Kattar out of the gate, but with the durability of Kattar that we now know well, I do think Kattar can survive that and potentially adjust as the fight goes on. Arnold Allen has definitely not been through the fire yet in the way that Calvin Kattar has. So I'm inclined to trust Kattar more in the later rounds. I also trust his cardio more. Obviously, Allen has not lost yet in his career, so it's hard to pick against the guy. But you could also argue that Calvin Kattar has fought like 5 or 6 guys already who are better than anyone Arnold Allen has fought. Arnold Allen's best opponent so far is probably Sadiq Yusuf, I believe, unless I'm forgetting someone.
Dan Hooker.
Kattar's got, what'd you say?
Dan Hooker.
Okay, or Hooker. All right, either one of those. I don't know who you want to say is better at this point in Hooker's career. But Kattar's got a good 5 guys you could argue are higher level than any of them on his resume. So he's been in there with a higher level. I know Arnold can go to the wrestling, but Kattar, if you remember, he's shown us before how good he can be there defensively to nullify a wrestler. I just think he's not going to go away. I could see Arnold Allen having moments early. I think Kattar's just going to stay in there. I think he's going to stay in there. I think the jab is going to start landing more as the fight goes on. I think the range is going to start appearing to be more in Kattar's favor as he figures it out, figures out the timing. He's prone to be in these close fights sometimes. He was just in one with Emmett. I could see this one being similar. I'm going to say he gets it done. 48-47, Calvin Kattar.
Wow. Omar, remind me who you picked?
I'm going with Allen for this one. Unanimous decision.
A UD for Allen. Wow. I think if it goes the distance, it's going to have to be a Calvin Kattar victory. But I'm going the opposite way. I'm going to go. This is a hard fight to pick, man. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and make a strong pick here. I'm going to say Arnold Allen. I'm going to say he gets Calvin Kattar out of there for Calvin Kattar's first TKO loss of his career. I just love the explosiveness and the pop and the power of Arnold Allen at 145, and my man is rising. I love Calvin Kattar, and I'd hate to see him take this L, but I'm going to say that Arnold Allen gets him out of there. TKO, I'll say 3rd round.
That would be enormous if Arnold Allen could do that.
It'd be crazy. That does it. That does it.